name and enrollment number in the chat box. Ma'am, you can start the session. The meeting is being recorded now. Thank you.
Hello.
Namrita ma'am.
We can't hear, ma'am.
Ma'am, we are not. You are not audible. Are you speaking or not?
She's muted. She's muted.
Yes, it seems. Namrita ma'am, are you muted?
अभी कब तक वहाँ एयरफोर्स में मतलब जून तक तो वहाँ हो गए अरे मैं कह रहा हूँ अभी जो आपका जो एग्जाम और बाकी चीजें कहाँ वहीं से अटेंड करोगे कैसे करोगे
Ma'am, I have not muted you. Means, please unmute yourself.
अरे एक चीज मेरा समझो प्रैक्टिकल रियलाइज में कहाँ से होता है
Please see, I have not muted you. Try to unmute your mic, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, sir. I think the network went and then probably my mic got. So I will start sharing now, sir.
Yes, yes, yeah, please.
Okay, so the program that we are going to do is Unit 1, that is designing development plans. So that is schools, as leaders of the schools, you may have seen that at many times you feel that there are problems where the planning is concerned, the development of or the design of the school. So we are going to today see what all can be done where the planning and development or designing of the school is concerned. So they say that the first thing is that when we are planning or managing a school, significant things have to be kept in mind. So one is the initiative fatigue. So that is usually we as people, definitely we do come across such a scenario at times where we do not want to take an initiative. At times we do not want to talk to the superiors, like we say, who will bell the cat kind of a attitude, right? So it is very important that we need to come out of that thought process, and we need to talk to our superiors wherever we feel there is a problem and we need to fix it. We need to review changes regularly, what needs to be done, what we need to be updated about. Then we have to ensure that we prioritize change and take initiatives where and when required. And as a leader, we should ensure that we have a proper roadmap of what we are going to do, create a roadmap for yourself. And then we ensure that we improve internal communication, whereas how we're going to manage the senior leadership team, how we'll manage the middle leadership team, and then how we are going to give certain issues a little bit of more priority than the others. And obviously, transparency in a working environment is very, very important. If possible, if we feel that there are certain things we cannot fix ourselves, then we need to ensure that we find a mentor. It could be outside the school, or it could be your own school, or it could be part of your school, or maybe management, higher management people. Then you find what resources you should need as per your school and scenario around you, and know why behind a certain change, what need is there, why we need to make that change to ensure that we are on track and the progress is being happened. So the three benefits that we feel that it would be there to come out of that fatigue would be that it will make us have or enable us to use better financial and human resources, and even technology nowadays is very, very important. It also fosters a greater sense of organizational purpose. So whichever organization you are attached to, it will obviously give you a purpose. And plus, it would also be likely that you deliver the required amount of, or we can say, required say issues we can look at and deliver them with the less effort and without unnecessary fatigue, right? So they say the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. So more important, whenever the school scenarios is concerned, action is very, very important. So while doing this unit, we will try to cover the objectives, that is, understand the meaning of school improvement, explain the nature and significance of change for achieving school improvement, describe imperative for school improvement, distinguish between barriers, facilitating factors for school improvement, identify the factors essential for leading change and their implication on you as a school leader, and then formulate the planning framework for facilitating and sustaining the change, and then appreciate the needs for designing the school plan and development. What is school improvement? So what is school improvement? How do we need to do and how do we need to fix? So as per some of the we can say, for example, the Cummings Worley's, he says that improvement is important, which is a system widespread application where behavioral science knowledge, plan development and reinforcement of school strategies is all the time needed for improving the effectiveness. So we, once we make a strategy, doesn't mean that we just keep that. We have to ensure that we keep revisiting and ensure that it is as per the need of today. And then French and Bell said that long-term effect to improve is to ensure that the empowerment, learning and problem-solving process is throughout, and collaborative management is happening all the time. So the school effectiveness involves both hard and soft issues. So what are the hard activities that involve where the school effectiveness is concerned, and what are the softer activities? So like, for example, strong leadership. How would you maintain strong school leadership is by identifying what the goals are, long-term direction, and what techniques are there needed as per the planning, and then evaluation of current impact. So we have to ensure whatever we are doing right now, we have to keep evaluating it and what impact it is having on our current scenario, what strengths or weaknesses we are still having, when we implement certain say planning that we are doing, prediction or what can happen if certain things are not taken into account, or if we planned a certain scenario and it does not happen, so what would be the prediction for the future and how will we have to solve that. Then challenging existing teaching. So all the time testing, retesting, assessment practices should happen, where, as we say, we could have peer teachers with each other where they can check each other's progress. If not, the senior management needs to be involved all the time. Then in identification of schools' capability gaps. So it is very important. I think that is one of the key things where capability gaps are regularly assessed and capacity building of academic and non-academic staff happens. Then remodeling of structure. So sometimes what happens is that we are sometimes sitting on an old structure and the system that probably doesn't work. The tasks that we are doing may not work for today's scenario. So we need to remodel that all the time, looking at what's happening. So regular feedback from your teachers, senior management has to be taken. Then allocating sufficient resources. So is the school doing that? Are we giving the support that is required as and when required? Are we giving the resources that our teachers need, staff, whereas academic or non-academic staff is concerned? Then softer activities would be like consultation with stakeholders. That could be anybody who's involved in the school community, whether they are parents, governors, or any other personnel that you feel would be important, or their feedback would be important. You can obviously get feedbacks. Then motivation of staff to ensure buy-in by ensuring that they are aware of why school needs to improve and where it needs to improve, where the changing process has been successfully implemented and where it should be implemented better. Then identification of required shift in the school culture and ethos as per the scenarios. Then identification and development of required behaviors, skills, and knowledge. So buying in. What do we say when we say that buying in? So formulate, that means we buy in means we formulate a clear vision, we communicate in a clear way the progress of your whatever plan you have implemented. It should be communicated in a certain way or regularly. It could be via emails. Nowadays it's very easy to communicate. So if in case we have invited ideas, we would want those ideas to be implemented, and the others who have given those ideas would want them to be implemented. That's the reason they are giving those ideas. So you can obviously communicate the progress. Okay, and then even if you want, you can obviously say that what benefits of certain things that have been implemented have been there. And then you can obviously, as a leader, you should lead the team with an example where, say for example, you want your teachers to do certain things. Can you have the vision of that same scenario in the classroom? Can you go and show them an example of what you're expecting out of your teachers? So if you go and do it, maybe they'll get motivated to do it further. Then they say that yes, sometimes changes can be taken on as a threat. Say for example, initially inclusive learning had become a big threat, in the sense the teachers did not know how to do it, what to do, where to go. But now everything is working where inclusive learning is concerned in a good way, because obviously so many improvements have been done. So imperatives for school improvement should be looked into in the process. Barriers which could like I would say.
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
It seems that the slides are not moving.
Sir, I'm moving the slides.
Learners, can you give feedback?
No, ma'am.
Now it has.
No, sir.
No, slides are not moving.
Oh, twice. No other slide except introduction.
Uh-huh. Really? But
Ma'am, it remains.
mine, sir, it is showing that it is moving. How do
Ma'am,
I do it then?
Okay, ma'am,
second.
keep taking
Now
feedbacks.
it's our 10th
Learners.
slide, I think. Now it's changed.
Ma'am, now it have changed to impartment for the school improvement. Now it have changed.
Ma'am, it happens.
Till now, whatever you spoke about, ma'am, we were just able to see the introduction slide.
We were only
Ma'am,
listening, ma'am. It was only introduction slide.
Can you give a brief overview of each slide again?
Yes, sir.
Very
So,
briefly.
sir,
Can you show the slide once again?
yes, of course I can.
From
Just
the
a second. I'm
starting.
so sorry about this. I thought I was. Can you see the slides now?
Can you start from the starting?
Yeah, now it is introduction. Yes, now unit 1.
Yeah. Introduction. Is it moving the way? So that means, sir, when I present, it's not showing. When I'm on the slide of not presenting, then it is moving. So should I just go like this then?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
it is on introduction and then move ahead, ma'am. Yes, now it
Initiative
is.
fatigue. It is moving now.
It is moving now.
So should I start with the initiative fatigue slide again?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you should start from this present slide now.
Okay, sir.
And learners, please keep reminding ma'am if it is not moving, then please remind her. And ma'am, please see to the chat box or at least the raised hand, so that if learners want to give some feedback
sir.
regarding anything like this.
Yes, sir. I will now keep 2 screens, because when I do slideshow, my screen goes away.
Yes,
So now I keep
if
the
you
2
can keep it in that edit mode, because it happens many
Yes, sir.
times.
Okay, sir. Okay, so I'll begin again. So today, as we've already discussed, so it's more about discussing school improvement and school planning. So initially, what I would say is then, as I've already discussed, is initiative fatigue. So when we say that initiative fatigue is concerned, is when we want to talk about certain issues that we are seeing or facing, but we do not do it. So it's basically we are stuck whether we should, and we are actually the pressure of going through certain scenarios is more, and which is causing fatigue. That's why it is called initiative fatigue. So they say that you should talk to your superiors as and when where you feel the requirement of having a conversation is required. Remove changes regularly. So wherever you feel that there needs to be some change and you want to review it and discuss it, do that regularly. It is not necessary that you have to always have a senior leader who's above you need where the changes are concerned. You can even consult your senior leadership team that you have created, middle leadership team, the little groups that we create as per the communication in the school. Then we can prioritize change and we can take those initiatives as and when required. Create a roadmap. When we say create a roadmap, that is basically having a map or a mind map created, maybe physically as well, to see, tick the boxes where we are going and what we need to do further. Then ask for transparency. It is basically when we try to be show that transparency ourselves as well, where we are clear with the objectives, what we want from the school. We know what the purpose is and what the ethos of our school is, and we are clear with it, and we discuss it with our colleagues as well. If at any point you feel that you cannot manage, maybe it's gone above your way of doing things or something that you cannot manage, then obviously a mentor could help. And mentor does not really mean that zoom the slides as well. I was zooming the slides, but when I zoom the slides, you're not able to see, because when I'm the sharing bit, I'm not able to click on the sharing. But I don't know how to go
No,
about
ma'am,
this.
it's fine. We can zoom it ourselves. It is
Okay.
you doesn't need to do it.
Okay, somebody was saying that they needed to zoom. If I could zoom it, so that is
No,
why I
ma'am,
was.
it's fine. It's fine, ma'am.
Okay, I think there's some problem with the presentation over there. That's the reason I'll have to go this way only. So bear with me. Okay. Because I think I'm at two places, presentation and so that's the reason it's happening. Okay. And then they say, so if you, even if you have your booklet, I have tried to follow it as per the booklet as well. So just check on that. So three significant benefits of managing sustained change is that it enables better, leverage, which we say financial, technical, and human resources. So we are able to create those. More we will talk about it. And it also fosters and generates organizational purpose. That is whatever the purpose of our organization is. And it is likely that it will deliver what we want, and the performance improvement will happen because we are following a certain way and we are following it through, right? The plan that we are doing is we are following it through. So objectives we've already discussed, so I'll just go through it again, is to understand the meaning of school improvement. We will explain the nature and significance of change for achieving school improvement, describe imperative for school improvement, distinguish between the barriers facilitating factors for school improvement, and then identify the factors essential for leading change and their implications on you as a school leader. Then we formulate the planning framework for facilitating and sustaining change, and then appreciate the need for designing school development plans. So how the school development plans would happen. So as discussed earlier, so there are certain things. So school effectiveness, which would only happen is when we try to improve, is when we look at both hard and soft issues or the activities that are happening in the school. So where hard activities are concerned, strong school leadership, are we catering to strong school leadership or not? Where strategies, goals and everything are planned properly, are there given certain directions? We are looking at the evaluation of the current impact. So whatever we are doing, are we evaluating it regularly? Are we identifying what strengths are there in our planning and what weaknesses, and how we are going to improve those weaknesses? And are we taking those challenges up front, and we are ensuring that existing challenges are taken into account, whether it is teaching challenges, whether we are doing assessments regularly where teachers are concerned? Are they following the school ethos where the planning is concerned? And if in case that's not happening, are we giving them regular training? That is important. Then identifying the school's capability gaps. So when we say capability gaps, it is a very key aspect, because if you really see the whole scenario, we will find that there are a lot of capability gaps at times, which are the real concern and should be the real concern of the school. Because at times when we are not able to assess the capability gaps, that's when most of the issues are arising. And as and when structure, we should remodel it as and when required. So we shouldn't be following the old scenarios. The syllabus changed, so we have to also ensure, are we looking at the syllabus? If we are teaching digitally, for example, are we following the new syllabus guidelines, or are we still on the old one? So all this have to be all the time reviewed. Then allocating this sufficient resources. So for example, if in case now ICT is more prevailing, how well is my school equipped for ICT? If it is not well equipped for ICT, for example, how am I going to produce ICT savvy classroom? So that all these things have to be taken into account, and what resources I as a school leader need to look at. Then the softer activities would be having regular consultations with different community members. It could be, say, for as we call stakeholders, that could be the parents, governors, or normal non-teaching staff. It could be individuals who are somewhere or the other attached to the school, and we should have their feedback regularly. Then we can talk about how the what you call the staff is motivated. Are they well motivated or not? So when we say buy in, what does that mean? Buying in, buy in the staff, so we are listening to them or not. Identification of the required skills. What are the skills required for the current period? So there are so many things, regular improvement. So for example, nowadays ICT is so prevalent. Are we ensuring our staff is skilled enough to cater to those aspects? Then identification and development of the required behavior skills and knowledge. Say, for example, we can say that emotional intelligence is very key nowadays. So are we really have we had workshops on emotional intelligence? Why? Because of the internet, because of the scenario. It's our social interaction is more, I would say, online. So when it is online, our we are not socially actively meeting people in person. So emotional intelligence plays very important role, how to set those scenarios. That's why nowadays we hear this term a lot, emotional intelligence, right? So buying in, when we say how do we find a clear vision, so formulate a clear vision to initially step in and getting to buy in to develop a clear vision. So that is invite others ideas. So we should be open to ideas. We should not say that, okay, this is my idea. So the more minds work together, the better it is. Then leverage feedback regularly, whether it is working or not. So that means, say, for example, if you're a school leader and obviously you can't meet them, now we can have regular Teams meeting or Google Meet, where we can actually, even if the say we can have once a month, we can have once a week, where you communicate with your teachers, where they are finding problems because new planning is implemented, how they're going, are they doing it? So for example, nowadays safeguarding has become a policy which is very strictly adhered to nowadays. So are they following? Have they even read the policy? How, as a leader of the school, you would understand that they know what they're doing where safeguarding is concerned? So you can have regular meetings and maybe give them activities in the meeting where safeguarding questions are asked, and you can randomly ask your teachers so that you know that whatever you're implementing, they understand. And if in case you find gaps there, how you're going to pitch in. So, right, so tailor accordingly to your audience, because obviously we have varied teachers in our schools nowadays, right? So show benefits of your plan. So your regular feedback would obviously motivate your teachers to do more, because you can see that, okay, we did this and this is how it has benefited the school, this is how it has eased your teaching, and how we can move forward with it, right? For changes that almost always experienced, or we can say we can have as per the school scenario, which needs to be where the students are concerned, is imperatives for school improvement, then barriers in school improvement, characteristics of school leaders, and then building the climate for school improvement. So all these can at times play a very, very important and a vital role in where school improvement is concerned and planning is concerned. So imperatives of school improvement, that is the introduction of transitional structures. So what is important here is that we bring people together in the organization. Then what does the impact of staff is remain? So as per whatever planning or improvement in the school is happening, how is staff reacting? So this should be they should be the most important. I have at times seen that in schools the staff doesn't play a very vital role. The students play a very important role, and students are highlighted more. Their needs are highlighted more, and at times the staff is totally ignored. So I feel if you want the school to have a good improvement, and where I have seen scenarios where school have equally looked at staff and treated the staff equally as they treat the students' well-being, they have seen ample amount of improvement in like a holistic improvement in the school. So attention is given to the cultural aspect and the innovation. Clear and consistent communication is done as and when required. Issues of speed in discussion making about structure and implementation, paying particular say attention to the roles played by board of members, committee members. So policies where there is not a clear transparency of who's playing what role at times does hamper the improvement of schools. So professional groups, political groups, whatever is involved in the school scenarios or the planning of the school should be clearly integrated to all the stakeholders, whether they are teachers, students, parents, everybody should know how the school is operating. Then the learning barriers that is commonly seen is the classroom barriers. So emotional barriers, motivational barriers. So when we say classroom barriers, that is when we are not well equipped where the classroom is concerned. Say, for example, the classroom can only cater to 20 children, but we have given 40 students in one class. So how does the teacher get on with, say, for example, we are teaching IB board or we are teaching CBSE board, how are we catering the classroom according to the board scenarios? Then the emotional barriers, where somewhere the teachers are emotionally so down because they are so overworked. At times the students are not motivated. So how do we come across those barriers? Then the experimental barriers, that is we are afraid of taking risks, we are afraid of taking into account some new scenarios that we have seen or have been introduced to us, and we want to continue doing traditional way of teaching. There will be some issues, like we started teaching online, so there are so many issues, but we do at times adjust and we are able to take or cater into our own needs, right? So then we say accessibility barriers, how Sometimes, say for example, I can say accessibility barriers could be where the school is concerned. Say not only the curriculum, the policies, but also the building of the school. How accessible is the building to the school? So are we really having an inclusive school? Is the school building catering to children who cannot, say, or the teachers, for example, have some health issues and cannot climb the stairs? Does the school have a ramp or a lift in the school itself? If not, then how do we cater to it? Then misconception is lack of understanding on behalf of management and board members. So whenever the misconception happens where the board thinks that they can manage without looking at certain aspects, there will be problems. There will be a lot of issues where learning of as aspects are concerned. Teaching and learning, I would say, go hand in hand. And then obviously, as I said, capability gaps is something that has to be catered all the time and looked at. It is an ongoing process all the time. Then characteristics of school leaders, very important. So say, for example, broader moral purpose. Every school leader has to understand that they have more, they are most responsible people. So as a leader, you have to ensure that your purpose is clear. You are leading by example. So everybody knows and understands. Say, for example, I would say here, I cannot forget my initial years of my school teaching was with one of the leaders. I think she, Mrs. Bindra. I remember her very distinctly, and I think she's now a principal in Vellum School. She inspired me a lot. Why? Because she was so involved in the school, and she was that time she was DPS principal. They were round about, and it is a big school in any area of India, and they are 1,500, 2,000, and she actually knew each and every child by name. When she would conduct her morning assembly, she knew, and she would take feedback of each and every child. She was so up to her work that as soon as I joined school, I was so motivated, and within a week, I ensured I know each and every child I teach, because I cannot be less than. I have to show her, if she can memorize 2,000 students' name, why can't I do so for 100 students or 80 students that I teach? And I should have that personalized one-to-one. So I think it really helps how you show your values to your subordinates, your colleagues. Then keeping with and understanding the change process. How are you going to, not that, okay, this is your mindset and this is how you've been doing and this is working all the way, so it should continue. No, you should be open to ideas. And then cultivating relationships and fostering good relationship. So when we say cultivating relationship, it's just not like you're talking to them, having staff meetings. It is about sitting with them casually, having a discussion, or maybe you've gone on some say training which was meant for senior management, and you went for it, and but you found an activity that was really good, and you come back, have a staff meeting and share that activity with them, which will definitely motivate them and feel that that yes, you have done something to ensure that they also progress as you do. So sharing knowledge is equally important, and then creating a coherence of everything that you're doing, how well connected everything is. And it would obviously how well connected not only your work, but how well connected each and every aspect of your school is. So building the school climate is again another aspect, very, very important for school improvement. And as I call it, I say it a ruler rule, that is recognizing it, then understanding it, labeling it into different aspects where you're going to put those aspects, and how you, who's going to handle what, and then expressing your viewpoints and letting others express it, and then regulating all the emotions And when we say emotions, it means not only emotions of your work or your personal emotions, but as an emotion of the whole school when you collaborate together. So Bill, how would that be? So ensuring that you understand your key priorities and the purpose of when you are planning certain thing or what you're improving, then identifying what obstacles you could have and how you're going to create solutions for it. Not that, okay, if are we going to ask the governor for so much say resources or these many resources, we're going to get a no. But how are we going to, instead of thinking that and not putting the request forward, it would be better we see how we can break down our request and create resources, and then how we management that performance. And then collaborative work definitely would be where we create teams and then we accordingly ensure certain amount of work is given, and only that work amount feedback should be taken from that team, and also taking feedback where the other teams are concerned, where they feel that okay, this could have been done better, and so that it is done in a good reformed way. Then school improvement as per the planning is concerned. So when we say that developing a new planning framework, so when we have already done a plan and we know it's not work, so what were the strengths? We analyze it. We call it SWOT analysis. Is we analyze it, we see where the strengths are, we see where the weaknesses are, and then whatever opportunities we have right now, how we can change our weaknesses to the strengths, and then whatever threats we have, how are we going to ensure that those do not prevail anymore. Then how are we going to have issue-based strategy planning? So that would be, so simple thing is ask, what is the biggest problem right now? How will we prioritize problems? So what is the biggest problem to deal with? And then we will organize aspects of things to deal with that problem. Then it is the balanced scoreboard. When we say balanced scoreboard, that is developing a framework where the objectives are clear, we measure what we need to do, what initiatives can be taken, and then the action items. So who is going to do what action and how we're going to take that. Then the strategy mapping would be financially what all we need, how we're going to do. Like certain schools I have seen where they cannot, especially the state schools, where they cannot get financial aid from the management as such, so they have to take help from other sources. So what they do is they create days where they would have say for example cake day. So their parents are chipping in as volunteers where they're making cakes and they're selling to have, and we have like fate, we have annual days where they'll have little stalls and create some resources for financial help or aid for the school. And that what else can we do where the learning and growth of is concerned, right? And then we have another is that how the objectives, say key objectives is what we want to achieve. Say for example, if we say in my priority is to ensure each class is ICT savvy, each class has a smart board, how am I going to do that? So my key priority for this term is this, so how will I measure my progress? So okay, so depending for here also I'll have to narrow it down to see which classes would need the boards first, because I have limited resources. So I will ensure my kindergarten has the boards first, because interactive learning is better for them than the senior. So I can gradually go up to the senior classes, starting with the pre-primary, primary section, right? And then if we have any gaps, how I'm going to plan out with the gaps. So first of all is my vision. I can take into account the senior leadership vision, because obviously they are equally experienced. Then what is the current state of my school as per the vision is concerned? Where does it, the vision, where does it on the scale my vision is? And what are the gaps? Even if it is a, I would say that even if I may feel that it's on the scale, it is at 6, 1 to 10 scale, it is at 6, but still there will be gaps to reach till 6. So how am I going to fill that and have that improvement done? And then last but not the least is the best analysis. So politically, where my school stands, what is the economic issues that I have to say, what socioculture aspects are looked into, and then technologically, how are we standing as per the school. So all this has to be taken into account to build a good improvement plan. Then we say the operational target setting. So the whole school's operational targets, what are they? At times we call them smart goal setting as well, right? So area plans meet the whole school targets or not. So what are we going to do? Individual school action plan. So each student, what achievement goal they have. Have we made a strategy? How are we seeing the progress of the students that we have? Am I, as a school leader, am I able to see the progress of my students at one go? What system or software system have we created? If we don't have, can we use Excel and update that? Is the Excel accessible to all the people and it can be updated all the time? Is it online? If it's offline, how do I create resources that it stays online and gets updated all the time? What extracurricular activities I do for the holistic improvement of the students that I'm catering to. And then behavior and modification of the development of the students. So the I just had a little note of sharing the PPT. The sir has the PPT. If he wants to share it on WhatsApp, because I'm not your WhatsApp group member, so maybe sir can do that for you. Okay.
It
I
will
will
be a
send.
great.
Sorry.
It will be a great help for us.
Yeah, definitely. I will ask Sir to do it. Sir has all my PPT, so if he's managing the group, so probably he would be able to do that. Okay. Okay. School development plan. So when the importance of development planning, why do you think it is important? The components of school development, what do we need to see? So for one thing is the background of the school. What background, what are the ethos? So for example, whatever your policy is, it should clearly state that this is the background of my school and this is what, say for example, I know if I'm studying in a Christian school, if I'm studying in what background and ethos they have, and what, as a principal of the school or as a student of the school, what am I looking forward for, which should be clearly stated. So if I know that, okay, if I'm in a say a convent school, I know that, okay, this would be mornings, I would be going for my prayers, and this will happen, and these things are going to, so there are certain steps they follow. If I'm in some private school, every private school has their own ethos. If I'm in a state school, so what are the ethos and what the government policies are that is expected? So your background of the school should all hold that, so that a good school analysis is taken into consideration. And if somebody reads school policies, they can clearly see the ethos of your school and what are the priorities that as school you are looking at. Say for example, what will be the school ethos? Say 3 rules you can take out of your school background and ethos and say that this is what we are for, this is what we are looking at, right? And then plan your school ahead, how are you going to do that? And the action plan should always be clearly stated what duties whosoever is, so and so is responsible for this is the head of this. Say for example, the senior leadership team consists of 5 people, so they have humanities group, this person is looking at science group. So you are clearly defining each and every person's role and then monitoring it and evaluating whether it is being taken forward nicely or not. And then school development process, so it is basically we ensure that when the plan happens, the process is should be smoothly done, whether we are conducting our educational decentralization is happening or not. The change of management school conditions has happened for good, that is important. That communicated each child learning is happening, that communication is catered to, and commitment is seen in the work and the planning, and the community participation wherever it is required is taken into consideration. I have seen many parents love to volunteer their own skills even if they cannot commit themselves. So it would be good, like for example, I've had schools where they do workshops with parents who are psychologists. So they have psychology workshops where parents volunteer to give one or two sections. Then there is emotional intelligence. There are neurologists come and give lectures. And that is just, as a school, we have to look forward and understand which parent is happily able to do that. And then cool analysis. Now, cool analysis is something that is really, really prevalent nowadays. So cool analysis is where we empathetically look at things. So that is now become very, very important, where empathy in everything that we do is looked into, not that it's just nothing is black and white nowadays, because emotionally we have to ensure that we are catering to everybody's need and prioritizing everybody's needs, individual needs. And then accordingly we create what you call action plans. Then approval of stakeholders, very important, that where if we are implementing something that is new, have we taken that approval or not? And then conduct annual evaluation of what we are doing. So whenever we are planning a development of the school, we ensure that we are obviously annual, but at the same time, we are also looking and reporting the progress. And whenever possible, we should celebrate even small successes should be celebrated. Say, for example, we have now introduced science olympiads in our school, and this is the first year. And how have we celebrated the results that came? Even if they weren't as per you expected, we may not have had a student who has topped science olympiad, but how did they manage? Because it's a new concept for the students and the teachers. Even if they've passed, have we celebrated them nicely, right? So all that's all for this unit. And you have two assignments for this unit. One is that apply the knowledge. How will you define school improvement? So as per you, how would you define it? And then list and describe the innovative activities undertaken, where you can classify them as hard or soft activities. That's your one activity. And the second activity is apply the knowledge as per what are the conflicts that could arise in your school improvement process. You feel that that could be one of the issues or problems, and then that could have arisen if you want to do some improvement. And in your school, what do you think barriers did you or experience are the barriers for your school improvement process? From these two slides, you can choose any one as your assignments. Okay?
Ma'am, it will be good if you post in the WhatsApp group, if you could give to Jagdamba sir and he can give us, so that the things are clear and we can make these assignments.
Yeah, definitely. I don't mind doing that. Or I think sir may have my slide.
Ma'am,
If
you
sir
can
doesn't
share
have,
it.
I will email.
If you will share, then I will be sharing it with the learners.
Okay, sir. So how do I save it?
By WhatsApp.
Okay, sir. I'll share it with you on WhatsApp.
Ji, ma'am. Ji.
And okay, sir. Okay. So I'll end the session here.
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Ma'am, it is either these two questions or those two questions, right?
No, yes, it is this slide or this slide.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, ma'am. Okay.
So
Thank you so
either
much.
one. Last two slides, so are your assignment slides, which says apply the knowledge, and any one
Sure.
you can do. Okay.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Any word limit for
So
this? Any word limit for
the
this?
word no, that is something this will decide. But for me, it is more like just have 500 to 650 words, not more than that.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So, ma'am, we have to do apply the knowledge, either these two questions or the slide that you showed, and or those two questions, like this one.
Either this, how
These two
will you
questions.
define school improvement? Then you list what according to you you can classify as hard and soft activities in your school.
Okay.
Or you can say that
Right.
either you do this, that what are the conflicts you think can arise in your
Right.
school improvement process, and then answer the second.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for clarifying.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. One request, like I messaged also, ma'am. If it is possible, kindly share the this PPT, ma'am, because
yes,
there have
yes.
been some lacuna of given. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, I will share I will send this to sir, and sir will share it on WhatsApp with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And I will end this session. I'm not sure if you're supposed to leave the session, but I will join back in 10 minutes time. Okay?
Okay,
It's
ma'am.
better that
Please
learners,
find me that is 410.
yeah, all the
Sorry?
learners please report at 4:10 and don't log out. Keep it login.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Jagdamba sir, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, sir. I have joined. I have logged out from one of my device and joined from another device. That's why it's maybe showing joining and leaving and joining and leaving. So, but I'm
No
very much
problem.
in the meeting, so I have joined from another device.
No problem. You can do that even. You can log out, no problem. The Google Meet keeps record of your that email through
Yes,
which you join. So
right,
it's better that you don't change the email, but you can
yes,
log in, log out, no problem.
right.
That doesn't affects much.
Sir, I have shared the
Any question?
PPT via email. Jagdamba sir,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
have
Yes.
I have shared the PPT via email because I don't know how to share it via
Okay.
WhatsApp.
Okay. Yeah, let me
Yeah,
check it. Yes, I got your that PPT.
yeah.
Yes, I got it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. I'll be sharing it with the learners.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Learners may have some query related to format of the this homework file.
Yes,
So
sir.
after this break, you can explain them because this
Yes,
would be
sir.
very clear about what they need to do.
Yes, sir.
So after that 4:10, when they will resume, you can reply
Yes,
that.
yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. I received the PPT.
Thank you.
Ji, thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Hanji?
Ma'am, I just wanted to ask about the assignment that you just gave. We
Mhm.
can submit the typed version of it, right? Like we can type and submit in the PDF form, or it should be handwritten, ma'am.
No, you can do it in type it as well. I have no issues at all. As long as
Okay.
it's sent timely.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Sure. Thank you.
Ma'am, I have shared the PPT after converting it into PDF and shared with the
Yes.
learners.
Thank you, sir.
Learners, yeah, we have shared PPT with you in PDF form.
Yes,
Sharing
sir.
PPT in PDF form is good because you cannot use it directly. So at least you will be getting the content, but PPT in ready-made form shouldn't be used or shouldn't be shared. So yes, see to your WhatsApp group, it is shared there.
Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome, sir.
Okay, let me know when I can start the session.
I request all the participants to, if they can keep camera open for 1 or 2 minutes, and expect that everybody must be back after this break, and then please switch on your camera. But on my part, I am unable to switch on camera because 2 meetings going on simultaneously, so camera is not working at my end. But I expect a few learners can open their camera, so that resource person will also be able to see you people. And if you have any query related to that assignments, that homework assignment, so please get it clarified now, because otherwise I will not be able to answer that. So if any query related to format, anything, you can clarify. Ma'am, I have a question related to that.
Yeah.
You have shared two pages. One is apply knowledge, and then you have given 2 questions. How will you define a school
Question.
improvement and describe? In the second
Yes.
slide, you've also mentioned 2 things in 2 boxes. So
Yes,
learners
sir.
are they have to opt one. One means they have to do
It's a
one
one
out of these
slide.
2. One
Two
slide.
two
Okay.
slides. So two questions, because they are interrelated. Questions are connected to each other. So first slide and two
Okay.
slides. Two slides. So choose any one slide.
Okay, they have to do any one slide. And in one slide, they have two activities. And they have to do both the things.
To
Isn't
answer.
it?
One assignment.
Okay. Means in one assignment, they have two activities. Okay.
Yes, sir. There's no two activities, they're actually interrelated. One activity only,
Interrelated.
but it is a progression of the first question.
Okay, okay. And then total size means amount
I,
of the
I
text.
said that, say 250, so around about maximum 650 words, that would be more than enough, sir.
Okay, then 2-3 pages may suffice the requirement.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. And it can be handwritten, it can be typed one.
Yes, sir.
Yes. And learners, please upload these assignment or homework in session 3 and session 4. So session 3 is already given to you. Session 4 will be given during this session. Okay, ma'am, you can start your session. And I
Okay.
hope that learners must have joined. Everybody has joined.
Okay, sir. So managing this unit is managing for equal opportunities, pluralism, and gender issues that arise in the school scenario. So multicultural education. So what is it all about? So multicultural education as a field of study is designed to increase educational equity for all students. And multicultural education is an idea, an educational reform movement, and a process where we need to understand that how multiculturalism can be incorporated when we start our school educational programs. So multicultural education is a progressive approach for transforming education that holistically critiques and responds to discriminatory policies and practices in education. So anything that you feel would be not, and obviously the multicultural education is something that has to be updated and improved as we go along. So we cannot, because and the definition of multiculturalism is also something that we need to understand and keep up to date about. So multicultural education relates to education and instructions designed for cultures of several different races in educational system. And this approach is to teaching and learning is based upon sensuous building. So consciously you have to ensure that you respect and foster to the cultural pluralism and different racial societies. So when we say that a multicultural education is a field of study, an emerging discipline whose major aim is to create education or equal opportunities in educational field, and one of its important goal is to help all the students to acquire the knowledge and attitudes that is required to effectively work in the society, where we are not only respecting or asking for our rights, we are also equally feeling responsible for the rights of others, and we are maintaining everything in a civic manner. So goals of multicultural education is creating a safe, accepting, and successful learning environment for all. So how will we accomplish that? Increasing awareness of global issues, strengthening cultural consciousness, strengthening intercultural awareness, and then teaching students that there are multiple historical perspectives to one aspect or one culture, and then encouraging critical thinking and preventing prejudice and discrimination. How would we do that? It is basically ensuring that we make students understand about other cultures as well. So James Albert Banks, an educator, sometimes called as the father of multicultural education. So what did he say? He had discussed the 5 dimensions of multicultural education and also 4 approaches of multicultural education that are very, very necessary for the curriculum reform. So the dimensions of multicultural education. You have to switch off
Mostly,
your
ma'am,
mic.
please.
Miss, is it Mosimi Negi? Yeah, thank you. So the dimensions of multicultural uh, education are content integration, knowledge construction process, prejudice reduction, and equity pedagogy and empowering school cultures. So he ensured that when we have content integration, what does content integration mean? So content integration means is that we deal with the infusion of various cultures and we ensure that their ethnic backgrounds are taken into considerations and activities and supports are accordingly taught and initiated. Say, for example, it's a very good example. I don't know if you have heard about F scale, where the African Americans were discriminated against the American soldiers because they were being judged with the F scale, or we say the Adolf scale of authoritative scale of personality, and where the questions were more related to the American culture, American background, and American scenarios, and less related to African Americans. That means their background and everything was not looked into or catered into. So they had to answer them of obviously with half knowledge they had. They may not have even known the areas they were being discussed in the scale. So they were then judged and they were on that scale. So this is a way, that's, I would say, one of the reasons these kind of dimensions have been encouraged is that when we are talking about curriculum, we are talking about activities, we ensure that we understand where the person has come from and we do not judge anybody but individually cater to their basic knowledge, and then we build them up to ensure that they have a perfect exposure to new knowledge. Then knowledge construction process that involves students in critique, ensuring social positioning of groups through the way of knowledge is presented, and then recalling some activities done in the classroom during the basic education years may be classified under this. So that is knowledge production. So previous knowledge clubbed with what we are already doing and then progressing it forward. Say, for example, somebody who has come new to the school and they've come from a different culture or a background you don't know. So to ensure that we understand what their background is, to ensure when they are in the class with the other students who have already at certain level, will they be able to cope up with that scenario or mixing up? If not, then what, as a teacher, what she should know, the teacher who is looking at what as a school you need to provide before the student gets into the class. So all this is important. Then prejudice reduction, that is, describes the lessons and activities the teachers implement to assert positive images of ethnic groups and to improve intergroup relationships. So that is whatever the subject the teacher is teaching, it should allow to ensure that it is going through the process properly. Say, for example, if somebody has, we are talking about, say, I'm talking about, I can give example. Say I'm talking about Christmas, and maybe at Christmas there are many other religious activities also going on. So as a teacher, do I understand the different scenarios in the other religious activities? If I'm going to talk about Christmas, am I going to leave other aspects of, say, the Sikh religion? They also, during that time, it's their special, because they are actually, for Sikhs it's a mourning period because it's about the fight that they had, and Guru Gobind Singh sacrifice for the religion, and then you have the Ramadan time. So are we discussing that? Are we only going to celebrate, or are we going to respect that too? Or as a school, if I feel that it is not required, do I need to just mellow down the celebration? So all this is as per your school ethos, you need to discuss and then take it forward. Then modifying teaching style and approaches with facilitate the intent of facilitating academic achievements of the school. students. So how am I going to modify my teaching? So if in case, suppose I am nowadays, as it's an inclusive teaching environment, am I catering, is my teaching, I'm ensuring that my teaching has that varied forms and ways of, am I going to do, say for example, I have some children who have special educational needs, am I catering to that while I'm teaching? Say for example, somebody with ADHD needs a blue screen. So does my slides have blue screen because there are few students who have ADHD in my class? So normal students who do not have special education needs may not need uh, who are like, as we call them, but obviously they may just be fine with multi or extra what we pop-ups on a slide, but a student with ADHD will not be happy with it. So as a teacher, am I catering to that student, or I'm just going by my way of ensuring that I'm looking very innovative? So that is something as a teacher I need to hold on to. So I need to modify. Am I ensuring that I'm creating group activities, because I have to ensure that is there peer teaching happening in my class? Am I doing multi activities to ensure all the students in my class are being taken care of and are catered to? And if some students are low, achieving low, what am I going to do to ensure that I improve my teaching style? One second. Then describing the examination of the school culture and organization by all members of the school staff with intent to restructure institutional practice. So that is empowering school culture. So ensuring that if certain way of examination is happening, how am I going to look at it? Restructure the practice, right? What activities can I initiate for future teachers? So in case I feel that there is something that, okay, this year certain aspects of my school lacked that. So how am I going to ensure that my teachers are well catered to for the coming academic year, and which aligns with the school culture of addressing multicultural learners? So if you see nowadays, multicultural learning is happening like everywhere. There's no school that will not have that. So our approaches have to be according to the multicultural reform that is coming in the curriculum, right? So how are we going to do? So first, the contributions approach. So that is, this approach will reflect on the least amount of involvement in multicultural education approach. So that is selecting books and activities. And then we are celebrating different heroes, holidays, and events in various cultures. We ensure that our books have that and we talk about that. For example, spending time reading about Dr. Martin Luther King, who obviously has played a very vital role for humanity, right? So this approach will obviously and have diverse books and scenarios. So if I'm doing, say, for example, I'm doing comprehension in the class, so there in that month of the year, what are the important dates? So if it is something, say, for example, it is Chinese New Year. So I will give comprehension activities accordingly, so that I can even just, one, they will do a grammar activity, and plus they will also learn about different cultures. They will learn about how certain, or I could talk about any hero in different country, or where I feel that, okay, we've had few students of that, so that they feel important, they feel more connected and accepted. So the additive approach, that is the approach where we concepts, themes, and perspectives are added to the curriculum without changing its basic structure. So we are following the structure, but we are adding few more things to ensure it is catered to as per the culture and ethos of the school. So this involves incorporating literature by and about people from diverse cultures into the mainstream curriculum without changing the curriculum. So we're doing the same activities as per the curriculum, but we are adding some more information of other peoples. For example, is examining the perspective of Native Americans about Thanksgiving without adding cultural diversity to the traditional view of Thanksgiving. However, the approach does not necessarily transform thinking. So that's what Bank says. It may not transform thinking, but it will give another perspective. It will tell you how different people spend Thanksgiving, right? So we do not condemn the other way of doing things, right? So then the transformation approach, that is that it changes the structure of the curriculum. Now here, this approach is where we'll have to change the structure of the curriculum to encourage new themes and issues which would be ethically more acceptable, right? Or new points of view. So, for example, a unit of Thanksgiving would become an entire unit exploring cultural conflict. So, this type of instructions involves critical thinking, involving a consideration of diversity as a basic premise. So, that is where we are going to discuss different. So, how do we do that? One, we've added new information here. We've added new information, but at the same time what we are doing is we are also exploring. So some activity or some assignments are given to the students where they will explore different cultures, and then maybe as a group they can do, or maybe you have 20 students and so you have 4 groups and they will debate on different cultures that have been assigned to them to have looked into what they do during Thanksgiving. So this will inculcate a good discussion and as per a good critical thinking in the students as well. Then the social action approach, so that is transformation approach plus activities for social change. So that is students are not only instructed to understand the questions or the social issues, but also to something that is more important about it. So why certain social issues are there, what is the important aspect of those issues. So here, for example, after participating in the unit, say for example recent immigrants to North America, students may write letters to senators like Congress or other newspaper editors to express their opinion about the new policies. So what would be the new policies nowadays? A lot of talk is being done about the immigrants, how illegal immigration is happening, how certain immigrants are treated in certain countries, especially European and American countries. So what should be done about it? So what as a student, so their point of view is taken into consideration and how discussion can happen on that, right? So these are all different approaches. And lesson planning for multicultural classroom. How are you going to do that? So one is that if there could be 7 steps that we could follow, that is goals and objectives. So first we will ensure what goals and objectives we are going to take into consideration. So material and resources. Then anticipatory set of entry, where what do you think? How are you going to start the lesson? Then what will be your instructional input? And then what guided practice while the activity is going on, as a teacher or as a facilitator, what guided practice are you going to take into account to ensure that the students are going to independently attend or cater to that assignment? And then what your assessment and evaluation will be. What are you going to evaluate the students on when you're going to end the activity? Is it going to be how they had collaborated, or how well they understood the topic that you had asked them to discuss and talk about, or you're going to assess them about their understanding about different cultures, because that was your main assignment. So this is something you'll have to take into account when you're creating the curriculum for that. Then the goals and objectives. So this is where the teacher articulates her expectations from students based on whether it is from kindergarten or year 12. So depending upon what age group they are going to, so accordingly the objectives should be set and the goals. So it also in the be part where she articulates and the multicultural and behavior objective and wants to achieve through the lesson. So this is somewhere where she should also be able to uh, clearly state that what is the objective where multiculturalism is concerned that she needs to obtain. Then she would include the materials, that is what reference points there could be, what needs to be printed, what should be non-printed, what should be, say for example, I'm going to start the lesson with the video. I'm going to show three, say, eating habits, say for example, misconceptions, what is good. So I'm going to show a video where multicultural way of eating. So some people eat with hands, some people eat with fork. So those are table manners. Some people eat with fork and knife. For them, they are their table manners. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show 3-4 videos of different cultures with their teaching habits and what is considered as good table manners and what is not considered as good table. So I'm starting with that. Then what will be my next thing? I'm going to give them printed activity sheets where they're going to discuss what they felt was right and what they felt was wrong. According to them, what was, say, socially acceptable and what was not socially acceptable. For example, they will then, the third thing would be whether they're going to discuss. So what, when the discussion is happening, what activity am I going to give them a chart paper to create a mind map, or it's going to be a verbal activity and then there's going to be a quiz after that, right? So all that has to be taken into consideration. Then the step would be where the teacher presents and explains basic concepts, definitions and clarifications for the learners. So that is the instructional input. So now she has decided this is going to be her material. So what all steps she's going to write for the learners to discuss. Say, for example, when I'm showing the video, that time I'm not going to give any input. So even if I'm asked questions, because I want them to have their own thinking process being discussed, so I don't want to give any input. So I have to ensure that in my instructions, I clearly say that when I'm showing the video, I'm not going to discuss the video. You're just going to clearly see the video and write your comments or write your opinion about the different videos you're seeing. So that way, the students will not ask you unnecessary questions. You have clarified what you want, you're expecting out of them. So that way, you will be able to achieve the aspect of the lesson that you want to look at. And then the guided practice would be where the teacher and the learner go through the process or steps required for the activity, and then wherever required, the teacher will give her input. So ensuring that they understand. And then the independent activity where their creativity and uniqueness are looked into, and obviously diversity should be respected. You cannot, as a teacher, you cannot give your opinion because you have given them the liberty of creating their own work. So here their uniqueness should be appreciated, and you should be able to understand their point of view. You should be open to their point of view, what they are discussing, right? Then last aspect would be of your planning would be the assessment or evaluation. That is that you ask for suggestions, you give suggestions, you discuss what has been talked about, and then whatever rubrics of evaluation is, you can do it two ways. You can ask the groups to assess each other and then have a discussion why they gave the marks that they gave, what was the criteria where the rubrics was concerned, and how they evaluated each other's work. And then you can obviously have a whole class discussion as a teacher what you think your point of view is. That way you're not judging anybody, and at the same time you have evaluated the whole project. So what are the benefits of multicultural education? So multicultural education increases productivity because obviously there's acceptance. We accept whatever the aspects or the cultural differences are there in different ethnic groups. And then it also promotes cognitive and moral growth among people, because critical thinking is a key skill that they are learning. Multicultural education also increases creative problem solving skills, and different perspectives are applied, and obviously we kind of create students with more of solution mindset than problem mindset, right? Then the multicultural education also decreases the stereotyping and prejudice. through, because if you see, when you understand the other person's perspective, the other person's culture, you're able to accept what they are doing in a better and a more say, where we have stereotypical thought processes, our misconceptions are taken away from us, or we can say already learned schema is taken away, and from where we are talking is taken away, and we move forward with the new learning that we have done, so where we respect, appreciate, and feel that others are all equal. So the multicultural education renews vitality of society among the richness of different cultures of its members and fosters development of broader and more sophisticated view of the world. So when we say every child statement, so by every child, we mean every child, no expectations. We emphasize that every child includes that the learner of English as a second language and speaker as English as a first language are equally same, right? Members of underrepresented, or we can say the groups that are not that popular, and the groups that are well represented are equally looked at. And then the students who are physically challenged and those who are not physically challenged, and look male or female, all are looked at as every child statement, where we mean that every person means a lot, right? For this, you can even do the activity that in the class. So you can do is that divide the participants into the group. In your school, you can start with that, where you can assign one or more of the statements to each group, like the statements given above, and then ask participants to list how the school presently meets the needs of those students, and then identify the strengths of meeting needs, areas in the needs of improvement, that needs improvement where your school is concerned, and that what new ideas may be used. You can take a screenshot of this if you want to do this activity in your class, in your school. What new ideas may be used during the upcoming school year to improve meeting, and then have participants share their responses. It's a very good activity, which I have always feel has actually gives you a very clearer picture of your own school and how you can implement other aspects that require your and then stages of multicultural curriculum transformation would be curriculum mainstream, then discussing heroes and holidays, integration, structural reform, as we've already discussed, and then multicultural and social action and awareness. Again, the facilitators or could do this activity is like you can have a curriculum of the mainstream, what is already happening, so what holidays, everything. So this is a kind of activities we have, but it's a little bit a longer activity, so I wouldn't really encourage you to do it, but it's required. Okay, so that's about it, about the multicultural and pluralism. So the key goal of multiculturalism is to change schools that all students will have equal opportunity to learn. So that's what we are looking for when we say multicultural opportunities, right? And so the assignments for this is activity 1. So again, 2 activities are given, so you can do either one. So you take a screenshot and design a lesson plan that incorporates strategies for managing pluralism in the classroom. And then for this, your instructions are given very clearly to choose a subject and the grade level that you want the lesson to be on, and put this as the instructions are there. So ensure that you highlight and what are you then identify the diverse needs of your students. So you will identify your group, where what students you think are there in your group of students, different cultures, what you have identified they belong to. If they have different language backgrounds, what are the language backgrounds, and what as a teacher would you have to develop in your lesson plan to ensure you cater to all those students. And then using culturally responsive teaching techniques. So how are you going to do those? What will be your techniques to it? And then encouraging peer-to-peer learning and collaboration. What will be that activity there? providing accommodation for students with diverse learning. So what have you done to ensure that the person with diverse learning has been looked into? Say, for example, somebody with the uh, say you have different say a culture, somebody with a background, say if you have a school in India, so somebody's come from abroad, so they had totally a different curriculum aspect, and here you have a totally following different curriculum. Say somebody's from Europe and they've come here. How are you going to cater to those students, because they're he's new to your school and your class? So how are you going to ensure he fits into the group? Then using technology, what technology you're going to use, and then write a brief reflection of your lesson plan. Why do you think so? Reflection means is basically reflective way of teaching. So what do you think, what would have happened? Did you manage to have that lesson being done in the class? If not, what do you think? How would this lesson of yours will manage pluralism in the classroom? And then you can obviously have a good reflective, uh, your say, for example, you can have with your peers, what do they think, and have their feedback added to it. One activity is this, and the second activity would be, so you can, again, from both the last two slides, you can choose either one you want to do. So activity 2 is, how can teachers effectively manage pluralism in their classroom in your region, and what strategies can they implement to ensure positive learning environment so for your students? So content should be, all the points in the content should cater to your essay at 50%, then organizational and structure aspect 20, language and style that you're going to use, so it should be 20% looked at, and then reference and citation 20%. Your essay should have reference and citation if you're going to write this essay, so not more than, say, three pages, as per digitally 3 pages, 3 to 4 pages, right? So that would be enough. And you can then ensure that the references are nicely cited for each assignment, because you're digitally presenting it. So it's not cut, copy, paste. Then it will become plagiarism, because when you're presenting digitally, that will be looked at as well. Okay. So any questions? Any questions? Yes, Himanshu?
Uh, yes, ma'am. Actually, there was a two activities. The assignment
Yes.
questions are there, so we have to
Yeah.
do any one.
Anyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone activity.
And
Yeah.
in the session one also you have given two PPT, two slides over there,
No.
ma'am. So I'm little bit confused
Anyone.
about the question there.
What are you confused about? Let me bring that
Ma'am,
up.
actually in the session one you have given the two PPT there.
Mm-hmm.
So there was I'm confused about the question. Actually, here it is clearly mentioned the assignment questions there, no? So
So
where
here
are the
there's
details about that? So
okay, I will tell you. The first slide, if you look at it, now that you have it on your WhatsApp, if you look at
yes,
the
ma'am.
first slide, it says apply the knowledge and how will you define school improvement. So your assignment
Oh,
on this is, first is, how will you define school improvement? So that is according to you, what would be in as per your school scenario. So you will obviously you've already learned. So one, you will define your learning. So you will say,
right.
according to you, what is the key aspect? So you are defining it. So how will you define your school
The school
environment?
improvement.
Yeah.
Mm.
So how do you think the school can be improved? And then give examples of your school. Then you will list and describe it, because we've already discussed these points, hard and soft activities. So as per
Right.
your school, what would be the innovative activities that can be taken into consideration, so undertake, or maybe have been undertaken in your school, So, and then you classify that these were the hard activities and these were the soft activities. Okay, so this is your first
Okay.
one assignment. Either you will do this, or you can do the second assignment, which again says, first question that you are asking is, what are the conflicts that could arise in the school improvement process? So as per your school, what do you think, if you want to improve your school, what could be the conflicts, where the conflicts can happen? So conflict doesn't mean that there would be a viewpoint conflict. Conflict could be that you say, for example, as we've done in the whole chapter, when you look at the slides, you will also see. So the conflict could be like, for example, there would be scenarios like gaps. For example, constructional
Right.
gaps.
What are the hurdles? What are the hurdles for the improvement while we
Yeah.
are making the plans?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, ma'am. Thank you.
And then once you've done that, then you will answer, if in your school, what barriers did you experience? So you know that this could be the conflicts, and then what were the barriers that you know, the different barriers we've talked about. So
Yes,
from
ma'am.
there,
Yes, ma'am.
just take up what barriers do you think you could have experienced in your school while you were in the improvement of the school process. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Any other
Ma'am,
questions?
can you share the activity 1 of this session 2?
Yes, sir. We've already discussed.
Please share, because I'm just taking the screenshot.
Okay, sir. I'm going to change
Activity
it. 1
1.
second, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Do you want me to repeat the instructions as well?
No, yeah, it's coming.
Okay.
But yeah, it will be good if you can also share the slides, so that I can, because taking a screenshot is not a very clear thing.
Yes, sir. I will just send it to you. I'll just do it right now. Yes, is it Smrita?
Yes. I was just asking in this activity which is displayed on the screen right now, designing a lesson plan.
Yeah.
Is there a particular format that we have to follow for the lesson plan?
No, you can just follow the instructions given on the slide. So obviously everybody has a different way of planning their lesson. So that's not the criteria. If you follow the instructions on the screen, that would be good enough.
All right. So you just like we use these as subheadings to design what we want to do.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it.
All right. Thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, just wanted to know, like, is it okay if we go with the digital part, like,
Yes,
rather than
of course.
handwriting
It is.
it?
Because if you see the second slide by itself is asking you to do the digital. So I'm fine with digital. If you see the second activity, it is saying that ensure that you have citation and everything. So obviously that is expected digital activity anyways.
I was referring to, ma'am, the first session assignments. And
Yeah, of
also
course,
the
that
second
can be
session.
digital as well. That can be digital as well.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Can we leave the class right now, ma'am, so that we may prepare our answers?
Yes, of course. Sir, is it okay for you to leave the class? Or
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, if your session is done from your
Yes,
part,
sir.
and
Yes,
if the
sir.
learners have understood the activities, then it is fine. I have just queries with 2-3 learners, because Mr. Jitender, are you there, Jitender Singh?
Yes, sir.
See, when I look at
Yes,
your
sir.
grade
Yes, sir.
card, it looks that you have not appeared in any examination. Then appearing in this ECP will not be means. I don't think.
Sir, the Sir, the thing is, like, I did not get any admit card, so I had been waiting for my admit card so that I could appear in any of the
See,
examinations.
you
No,
should.
sir. I registered in 2022, but unfortunately, the regional center Dehradun did not respond to any of the things. I had visited 3 times. I had submitted my assignments at the DAV PG college also, well in time. You know,